What the heck? It's another episode of the WWII Reich? I cannot believe it. But here we are once again. So we're going to continue on. We have annexed Nepal, and we're trying to influence the kings of Bhutan and Sikkim. And I have high hopes. I'd also like to intervene in Burma at some point because it has completely shattered apart. And I want to support the People's Burma, led by Takin Tantun, because he supported my ideology. Not only is he a Buddhist, he's also got a pretty good jawline. I mean, that's a twofold reason to support this man. On top of that, I did see that you've now declared war on the Kazan military Okrud. Not really too sure why, but I guess they don't like each other. I guess it doesn't really matter what the reasons are. The Hong Kong handover. Following the signing of the Sino-British agreement, the handover ceremony finally happened earlier today, putting the treaty terms into immediate effect. As of the handover, the sovereignty of Hong Kong has finally been returned to China. While Hong Kong is afforded great autonomy as a compromise, reforms made during the Young Plan were allowed to stay. And in addition, similar to the selection progress of Chinese provincial governors, Hong Kong's Legislative Council and Urban Council will be granted the authority to elect the chief executive, which businessman Henry Shu was selected to serve as the first chief executive. Now, I'm not too sure why exactly the British would hand Hong Kong over, but they did have a 99-year lease? I don't know why they didn't make it a perfect 100. That, of course, obviously expired in 1997. So I'm not too sure why exactly they would hand it over 40 years early. Like, they still hold, Malaysia. So, like, it's still strategically important to hold Hong Kong. I mean, I guess Macau is also... No, Macau's still owned by Portugal. So the British are just fucking losers. And they're like, you know what? We don't want it. You're gonna let the Portuguese stand you up? Also, I did not realize how powerful... Can I actually move both of you here? I did not realize how powerful the constitutional government is. I've lost my ability to speak any words. Any of them. But we can push our way to take Luzon. Maybe we can then move up the railroad to go take Tehran, collapse the national government, have an ally, because they are... Well, I mean, I'm not too sure exactly what ideology they will support, but, I mean, they're getting support from both us and the British. So there are possibly multiple ways that they could possibly swing. How are you guys, by the way? Nepal's at 10, Sikkim's at 15. Bhutan we haven't done at all. The Accords... Alright, let's talk this out. We're willing to meet with some of the rebellion's most prominent leaders. Hearts and Minds... For more integration for us. Let's arm Sikkim a little bit more. Get him an extra 5% or whatever that number was. Okay, we got our 2 civilian factories. I don't think I want... Like, these two are just kind of garbage. Like, nuclear tech? Do I honestly really care about nuclear technology? I've got to say the answer is no, right? It doesn't seem... Ooh, 100 political power. That actually would be nice. You know what? Let's go for the African... Like, first, is there anyone that gives me political power here? You have 80 if we're doing a 2 fighters face off. Then yes, I do want to look at this. Since ancient times, India and China have had a complex relationship as 2 great civilizations nonetheless divided by geography. Okay. We will have the 2 tigers face off. Move these 2 troops in order to go take this port. We can then move our way to Avash. And again, hopefully push our way to take Tehran. Kind of encircle these troops. This German tank, he can just kind of live there. The Führer is dead. Today, the most powerful man in the world and the man who defined the last 30 years of history, the Führer Adolf Hitler, has perished. This month was a turbulent month for the Hitler, suffering 2 strokes and having multiple heart attacks. Thought to be the culmination of years of medical issues. Leaked reports indicate that he was eventually left weak and mostly unable to walk, staying in his private home, the Burghof, to rest and stay close to his wife, along with one of the best doctors in the Reich in case of emergency. The area around the Burghof was locked down for many civilians. German government has announced a period of national mourning for all Germany for 1 month, while millions of others across the world will briefly celebrate the death of the man who has brought so much suffering in his wake. Okay, well, they did put a 2nd infantry division here, which is very, very unfortunate for me. So who's in charge now? Presumably it is... Right now, it's the Senate. Does the WWII Reich have a... Does it have a civil war as well? I'm actually not 100% too sure. Okay, I think we can wait 1 more year for you. 1 free synthetic refinery for 320 days. Okay, that is a little expensive. 500 days on you. Does not have the ability for... We don't have nuclear capabilities. What do we need to do to have nuclear capabilities? I'm not too sure. But you know what? We will get the war austerity train. Agitation been foiled. But hey, that affects China and not us. So I'm still happy with that outcome. And 4 extra military factories. What do we want these bad boys to do? I think we just want more rifles. Yeah, we'll double rifle production for right now. I know it's not the sexiest thing to do, but it works. It works. There's no denying its ability to work. Okay, hearts and minds. I mean, the 500 guns would be nice. And I think we do want to do the Tecmong Accords. It costs 50 points. India, Nepal integration goes up by another 10%. For 45 points versus... I mean, I guess it's a war sport penalty. Which I will say is not fantastic. But it could be a lot worse. Hey, a free civilian factory? Sure, I'll take it. A little bit less stability in the revolution, but I'm still okay with that for the time being. 91 days, looking good. They did kill that German tank division. And Burma has officially been annexed. So, does that mean that the smaller states are now at war with one another? Somewhat, yes. It looks like there's like some ideological alignment. Social Democrats are aligned with Burma. The Socialists and Trotskyists are not at war with other communist groups. But presumably, either A, they're going to create a united front, like a unified government once the war is actually done, or more likely, they're going to fall into massive infighting. Both of those seem extremely likely outcomes. Unfortunately, the German tank dying, honestly, is not actually a... It's a good thing, because it does mean that there are less German troops in the area, but it does mean that Germany can send more volunteers that will be fresh. The Grand Funeral of Adolf Hitler. In memory of Germany's fallen Führer, Adolf Hitler, Germany witnessed the biggest public event in its entire history. Started with a military parade performed by the elite SS Panzer Grenadiers, followed by a 4-long-hour orchestra performance. Adolf Hitler's funeral was held in the heart of the Volksschule under the guard of the Inner Circle and loyal bodyguards. Attended by thousands of Germans, Berlin was poorly overcrowded by mourning Germans. Amongst a dozen of Germans, only a few foreigners attended this grand funeral. This event quickly became a televised banger, with the voice of Joseph Goebbels echoing throughout the world in a form of his patriotic speech, which lasted for upwards of 10 hours. For now, Hitler's body will remain in Berlin. What a waste of resources. What are you guys doing? You're just kind of hanging out here for now. If you can push back a little bit. Actually, no, we can get an encirclement if I move our units here. And in 1952 to 51, Raji Trophy has been gone to Holker. Congratulations to them. I'm sure they earned it. Are you retreating? No, not yet. But again, they'll get encircled in just a second, which will benefit us because they will be able to kill this division off. And we still need to push away Tehran. This infantry division is looking fairly weak. So if I was to counter you here, move you around, and then we're going to take the supply hub. I don't think it's going to make a big difference because, again, they will still own Tehran. But it'll still be a quite a big boon for us. The Private Life of an Indian Prince by Maluk Raj Anand is an Indian novel written in English. The novel appears to have some political motivations, like much of Anand's works. This observes the seat of the nobility of the princely states during their abolition. It is a study of human nature, both deceit and blind romance. Our main character is Ashok Kamur, a governor of Shampur. He is seduced by his mistress, which leads him to extort the poor in his down and submit wealth for his pleasure. This leads to a revolt against his rule, and afterwards he is exiled to London with no sign of love in sight. He can romance other women, yes, but it never feels the same as the girl who brought upon his downfall. Decisions available. What decision do we have, actually? Hearts and Minds, arm the state congress. I mean, that sounds pretty good to arm them. How are we looking here? Okay, they apparently conservatives and non-aligned have not put a single point in trying to get them under control. Arm you for 10 points, and then we'll do Hearts and Minds. You're still looking okay. We can secure more donations, do some more pageant agitation. It's only at 4.3. So it is going to take a while. I don't know if there's going to be like one big massive event that causes it to fully swing by many, many points. And I don't like how you have actual strength. Even though you're still at half strength, I'm not a big fan. Hey, but a reinforcement arrived just in time, so this will not collapse. The Slavic Revolt. Reich's communist threat control in Moscow has always been among the most unstable in the Reich. Titled as the slave state by outsiders, the oppressed Russian people have finally built up the courage to rise up after catching wind of the death of Hitler. While some might argue that the rebellion was bound to happen, the revolt is certainly emboldened by Hitler's recent death and the instability it has caused in the German government. Now with the revolution in full swing, it is a sign of what is to come. Okay, so got the Moscow Red Army. Are you invaded? No. Russian People's Liberation Army. So Ukraine and the Moscovian government has both collapsed right now, which is not a big surprise. We'll maybe see Ostland collapse as well. And we also see that the Mountainous Republic has also rebelled at the same time. The state of Sino-Indian relations. Since ancient times, India and China have had a complex relationship. As the two... Actually, is this the same event that was in the actual event description? Or in the folks description? In the modern era, we stand as two great Asian nations with massive economic potentials, with the potential to expand our influences across the continent. While in theory, both our nations stand as champions of Asia in opposition to centuries of colonial domination of the continent, the Chinese have strayed from this path. Since the victory of Chiang's branch of the nationalists, China has remained under the authoritarian reactionary jackboot, with jingoist politicians holding important positions in the Chinese government. Under his regime, the Chinese have stamped out the communists within his own territory, the Purist group supporting national liberation. It even launched wars of aggression in neighboring countries to crush communist movements. In addition, the British left us with territorial disputes along the Himalayas, which are a threat to our national security. But rather than work constructively to solve them, Nanjing has only doubled down on his aggressive claims. While we may theoretically be allies, the Chinese have unfortunately chosen not to be, integrating themselves within the Anglo-American dominated world and attempting to build up their own sphere of influence across Asia. Relations remain cold, but while we would like for rapprochement to happen one day, for now we must maintain strong and vigilant. We must continue to challenge China and their attempts at Asian hegemony as an equal partner in Asia, continuing our modernization and preserving our democratic system as a beacon to all. That gives us 80 political power, which is very, very nice. Hangman Theory allows us to maybe send some troops to Vietnam. You don't even exist anymore, so probably not that important. What do we want to do first? Is there anything we want to do before that right now? How is stuff in your base that are at stalemate? The Republic here is a trade partner. But you know what? I might want that 100 political power. So you know what? Let's go for the African Bureau. Follow that up with the Tengbocho Accords. And you're still looking good. Influence Cambodia still think it's actually going to be that important for us. South Asian Treaty must reach 10 points of influence. Okay, I mean, that does sound a little expensive. Can't do anything with you. So you know what? Let's go with meet with members. Has also failed. I think that's like the 5th time it's failed, but we'll shame British collaborators. Do I want to crush the rebels? Yeah, why not? We'll crush those rebels. And Tambol Accords. Yesterday, representatives from the anti-Indian Nepalese groups and the representatives from the Indian government met at the Tambol Monastery in eastern Nepal to discuss a proposal to annex Nepal, albeit with heavy autonomy. Although these groups have been hostile for India for months, they agreed to a ceasefire and peace negotiations, believing that they could gain something out of the talks with the enemy. To India, these talks are widely hoped to quell ethnic tensions and allow for ordinary transition to Indian rule. While annexation of the Indians is obviously non-negotiable, they have stated that they are open to compromise on how Nepal is annexed, and under what conditions will Nepal exist as part of India. You know what I actually want to do first as well? I want to make sure we have some... This is not going to work there. But for you, I at least want to get some invasion plans ready to go. That looks good to me. You guys are going to be moving your way through both channels. Sounds great. You're still encircled. Keep both of you here, and I want you really just on this road. We have one half-strength Iranian troop. If we can take this, again, we take the supply hub, which will be a... it'll be good for us because it means that the enemy base will just have no support whatsoever. Okay, Ukraine is basically collapsing. Of course, we're supporting the Social Republic here. And over here, of course, we're supporting the Moscow Red Army. Is there any other party here that we would care about? The Association of the Freed. Okay, so they're like a revolutionary group. And then you are Paternal Autocrat. You're like reactionary Russian troops, which I do not want to support. For fairly obvious reasons. The 10 Balls Accord. National Party wins South Africa. From the start, the Nepalese groups have argued not just for regular autonomy, but full autonomy. They see themselves as very different from the other autonomous regions of India, who have significant rights but do not have full self-governance under the Indian government. These groups have pointed out that Nepal's distinct history and culture have made it deserving of this. They believe that Nepal has followed a unique path in Asia. In response, the Indian representatives opposed Nepal still gaining autonomy, but not receive special treatment beyond that of any other Indian autonomous region because of its past. Indian representatives point out that if Nepal is granted self-governance, this may trigger a domino effect where other regions of India demand the same treatment, causing internal instability to plummet, leading to a potential new conflict. Nepal exists as an independent pro-Indian state if the accords succeed. Or we lose 80 political power. You get extensive autonomy. I'm going to take -80. I'm going to take -80. Ethiopian uprises, and the completion of a dam. The Motti Dam, located in the town of Manur, in the Kerala region, has recently been completed. It has begun operations after the pompous inauguration ceremony, where the regional governor and the President of India were present. The dam began construction back in 1949, totaling a cost of 2.2 million rupees. The dam is an impressive feat of Indian engineering, cutting through the Muthirapuzia River. It has a total capacity of 55.4 million cubic meters, with a surface area of 323.7 hectares and a length of 237.7 meters. The dam will be incredibly important for the development and modernization of Kerala and other southern India in general, and will make a good piece of propaganda for our government. Hey, I mean, one building slot is not... it's fine. It's fine. You know, Kerala, it's okay. It's okay. The rights of monks. The Nepali representatives have argued for the special rights of many Buddhist monks living in the country, asserting that due to their importance in Nepali society, they should be given preferential treatment compared to other religious groups. In response, the Indian government has argued that while special rights have been given to other monks in India, they do not have preferential status, with fears that religion could overtake the popularity of the state, while also being breeding grounds for potential religious extremism. While the government agrees that special rights will be granted to the monks, it remains to be seen whether Nepali monks will get special treatment. Under Indian law, or they'll be allowed to... no. Under Indian law. I'm not giving you a goddamn inch, basically, is how I'm seeing this right now. Again, you're 55. I think we want to at least wait probably until 1954 to get that stuff going. Jet engines. Well, I mean, we do need jet engines. Artillery. We'll go for the 55.5-inch medium gun. Get some better artillery for our troops. In the Second Hungarian-Romanian War. Okay. So basically, the German sphere is completely falling in on itself. Which, I mean, is good, I think. The king. Many of the Nepalese representatives have pushed for the return of the king, being staunch monarchists themselves. Although they have said that the monarchy itself will not return, they still believe that the king should be able to live in Nepal. However, the Indian government is concerned that such decision could only further satisfaction in India, as the king would be able to act as a symbol of Nepali nationalism and independence. At the same time, granting this wish to Nepali representatives could allow India to garner more favor with ordinary Nepalis post-annexation. You know what? He can return. We will allow... We'll pull a Puyi. We'll allow him to return to Nepal, but he has to be like a street sweeper. A street sweeper. No template for medium tank 3s. Don't worry about that. We'll figure out what to do with the medium tank 3s in due time. I mean, all we can do is like take you and then we'll just replace this light tanks with medium tanks. There we go. Look at that. We gotta duplicate this. There we go. There we go. We have now one division for you. All of that is looking great. Still would like more manpower, but that's going to be a bit of an issue. After several days of discussion, the Tangboka Accords have ended. The exact contents of the treaty ratified the accords are currently sealed, and remain unlikely to be unsealed in the near future. The Indian government has already begun advertising them as the future Nepal. Nepalese public opinion remains generally confused about what exactly the accords entail, but it is clear to us that this is a massive step forward in regards with the final settlement regarding the Himalayan fiefdom. I know how to speak. So that has been completed. We get 15% more for Nepal. Very, very happy to see it. And let's try another push into Iran. But I will say that at least for right now, it's going to be a good time for us to end this episode. If you enjoyed, thumbs up. Not doing it, always thumb down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.